Hey, welcome back to another Manga Talks episode. Today we're going for another thematic video today. This one on the title, Wandering Amongst Chaos. And there was a couple of reasons that I wanted to make a video like this, is because the previous one was the one about suspension of disbelief, and I was just looking at other different themes that I could make a video about because it was just fun to look around and see what I've been reading and different things that connect some of those reads. So that was one thing. But recently, if you've been following my Instagram, I have posted about this book. This is En-chan's House by Saigo no Shudan, and it is, I'm already calling it very early in the year, probably going to be my top read of the entire year because I was completely blown away. This is one of the best reads I've ever had in the medium of manga, and so that really fit well into the books that I had prepared previously, because before En-chan, I already had gathered a couple of different books from some mangaka that I wanted to talk about, but then this one came in at the right time to really, like, the icing on the cake, I would say, for all of these selections here. So you may be wondering what the theme entails. I think if you just look at the mangaka that I have featured today, then you might figure out straight away. Pretty much the gist of it is just looking at stories and mangaka that really throw you into worlds that are riddled with chaos but are extremely fun and entertaining. And all of these are from the world of alt manga. So alt manga for the win yet again. But today in total, I think I have four mangaka that I wanted to go through just to talk about how each of them pertain to this specific theme. But honestly, all of them are very fun. This is definitely not an exhaustive list because there's so many mangaka that would probably fit under this theme, but just a couple that I pulled out and I could identify from my shelf. So I really want to talk about this book first, but sorry, I should probably give a brief teaser of the book. So we've got En-chan's House, we have a couple books from Nerunodaisuki, a couple books from Sakabashira Imiri, and a couple books from Yuichi Yokoyama. So those will be the artists that I'll be talking about today, but I do want to start off with this highlight here. So this is En-chan's House by Saigo no Shudan, which is actually a trio of animators and artists that have done like animations for music videos and short films, that sort of stuff. And in the past, Glacier Bay Books actually had put out a digital release for En-chan's House, but I don't think it's the same thing because this is a big book, a very, very big book. I think it's a compilation and extra pages to the story of En-chan. I believe that the digital release that Glacier Bay had put out was like they went by chapters, so it might be like an incomplete version of it. But this was released very, very recently, only like I would say a week or two ago, and I had pre-ordered it because this is the very first book put out, like a commercial release put out by Saigo no Shudan, which means like last resort if you translate it. And this is put out by Lead Publishing, and it's got a little obi shout out by Shiegari Kotobuki. And so I'm just going to remove this because it's a bit annoying to flip through for the rest of the video. But this book blew me away. Like I'm not exaggerating, but sincerely one of the best manga reads that I've had in terms of my whole manga journey. And the reason why is I'll just give a little flick through of what it looks like. So number one, it is a book that is in color. The entirety of the book is in color. Number two, the artwork on the front and back is amazing. So you're thinking of this and you're looking at this cover and you're thinking, okay, this for sure fits under the umbrella of Wandering Amongst Chaos. But what is the premise of this book? So the main premise is that we follow a kid by the name of En-chan, who's this little boy here, and we essentially go through a very psychedelic journey as he is transported back in time and becomes, his imagination runs rampant and runs wild, and essentially he is creating and destroying things, everything in his path. So he's kind of like playing God, but it's just full on chaos. So there's not really much to spoil about this book, really. Here it's just showing the catalyst for the entire story, where these two gods come down and they stick a spear into the earth, and En-chan happens to be right under it, and that explodes, literally and metaphorically, the entire world, and everything comes apart into these very, very intricate pages where there's so many things happening. And En-chan is actually transported back in time to when he was a kid. And from that point on, he is accompanied by these little creatures. So there's floating dude here, and then we have this bigger guy, and there's another creature that comes through. But as I flick through, you'll see that every single page is filled with so much action and momentum, and so much detail in the artwork, in the backgrounds, that it was just, I read this all in one sitting, because it is very easy to read in one sitting. And the third thing I would say as well, this is a mostly silent manga, which is a really big benefit for those who don't read Japanese, because I highly, highly recommend this book. I personally got it from Amazon Japan because there was no other way for me to pre-order it and get it to Australia. But now that it's out, there may be other avenues that you can explore. But if you take a look at this, there's so much packed in each and every single page, and I love the amount of color that they use for this. And another thing that I'll say too is that one thing that really enhances the reading experience, at least for me, is because I've been following Saigo no Shudan for quite a while, and I've seen their animations. So when you're reading this, you can kind of feel that, like you can feel it moving. And what I would recommend is that go onto their socials, I'll link in the descriptions, have a look at some of their animations. And then if you have this book, go back to this book and read this, because it's really, really interesting to see how your brain kind of fills in the gaps. Because if you have experienced their animation before, then you can see kind of these things moving, and there's just so many things happening. So like volcanoes that come to life, you have a lot of like a really big focus on transitioning between scenes, you know, things breaking apart, coming back together, morphing into different things. There's so many things that are happening in this manga that it was just the best thing ever. And I feel that this is really encapsulates what I enjoy the most out of manga. But yeah, this is such a, like, I'm almost like wordless with how in awe I am of this manga, and the story, the art, everything. And it is a really big book too, so you're getting your money's worth. And one thing I like a lot is that there's a big abundance of these double page spreads, but they're used effectively, I would say, because they're not just shoved in at you and every single page is a double page. No, I think it's paced really well, because they're all for like big events, big happenings and occurrences and everything like that. But this manga is just so good. So highly recommend En-chan's House by Saigo no Shudan. If you love what you see, then please pick it up. It's very reasonable price too. For me, on top of shipping, I think it came out to like $40-50. $40-50 for a book that is in full color, and for this big of a book, you know, it's a bit longer than what you normally get out of the usual tankobon size. And I love the fact that they went for a green spine too. Very interesting choice. But especially the back too. You can see the green background. The green patterns in the back are just events that happen in the, actually everything here are things that happen in the story. So I don't really need to explain anything from this book, because visually you can just look at it and understand that all of this is kind of like a child's imagination going haywire and that impacting real life, or you can see it as, you know, just in his imagination, because yeah, a lot of wacky stuff happening. But calling it very, very early in the year. This is only the start of February, but probably my best read of the entire year. And if something beats this, then I will be very surprised, because obviously I wouldn't want something to beat this, because that just means I'm experiencing more amazing stories. But this is going to be really tough to beat. But yeah, highly, highly, highly recommend. Can't say enough how much I love this book. So coming back to the overall purpose of the video, you can really see how just going through this book here, it aligns a lot with that chaos. And I would say, I mean, the title of the video is Wandering Amongst Chaos, but I feel like En-chan was just running through and crashing through the chaos. So as you can see from the cover too. But yeah, so that was the first book that I want to show off today. The next one I'll just pick at random. Let's go through Yuichi Yokoyama. So it's been quite a while since I have mentioned or talked about Yuichi Yokoyama on my channel, but he is one of the first mangaka that got me into the world of alt manga. And so I'll actually explain my first encounter with him. 1 second. Alright, so my first encounter with him was actually years before I even knew much about alt manga in general. And that was because I had actually bought this shirt from Uniqlo years and years ago. I don't know how long it's been since they've done this collab, but this I just bought because, you know, I thought it was cool. You know, it's just it was like manga panels on a shirt. But this shirt, like I remember looking up the artist Yuichi Yokoyama, and at the time, because this was like very early in my manga reading, at the time, I didn't really know anything about him, and I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool. It's a shirt with manga on it. And then years later, I found out that, you know, I get back into reading and exploring a lot more manga, and I find Yuichi Yokoyama, and he looks very familiar. I take a look at my shirt, and it's the exact same person. So I had Yuichi Yokoyama stuff with me even before I really got into him, so that was really interesting. But Yokoyama is another one of my favorite mangaka. This is actually the first book I read for him, Travel. And if you've never read or seen Yuichi Yokoyama, you'll find that his manga is very unique. He dubs it as neo manga, and this one specifically is another silent manga as well. And the premise of this is just a couple of guys traveling. They go on a train, they traverse through different landscapes, and that's it. But the main thing that really stands out, there's a lot of things that stand out with Yuichi Yokoyama. Number one, not in this specific story, but his sound effects. His manga, they're so loud. That's how I would like to, I guess, describe it, because all of the sound effects are embedded into the actual story as well. And so this was a really interesting read for me, because think about this, you know, my very first manga from Yuichi Yokoyama, I just come into this story where no one is speaking, nothing crazy is happening, everyone is very, you know, serious, wacky designs everywhere, but it's a unique sense of time that you get when you read through his stories. And then as I explore more, I get into other works like New Engineering. I love this one because this for me is probably Yokoyama's funniest book. So it's a collection of short stories where just a bunch of crazy stuff happens. A lot of action here. And so when you think back to Wandering Amongst Chaos, I think the best book from Yuichi Yokoyama is either Garden, which I have here, or Plaza. I do have Plaza as well. I have quite a number of books from Yokoyama actually, including art books, but I haven't taken them all out because it'll be a bit hard. But Plaza or Garden for me fits the most with the theme of Wandering Amongst Chaos, because Garden, there is speech here and dialogue, but we essentially follow kind of similar to travel, where a group of people just travel across this landscape where every time they come across something, they kind of make comments about it, observe it, and there's no real plot. It's just an exploration. It's more of like a visual journey, and you can see here the sound effects coming into play too. But yeah, Yuichi Yokoyama is a very unique mangaka. There is nothing else like his manga right now, and I still have not read the elephant manga that I have, so I'm kind of saving that for another time. And also, I still have yet to pick up. He had another one where it was like maybe adapting poems or some kind of prose, which I have not picked it up yet. I actually haven't read any Yokoyama for quite a while, but hopefully once I figure out what my next haul is, I can pick up that book as well. But yeah, Yuichi Yokoyama has a very unique appeal. I totally understand if people are confused or don't like their works, but yeah, these are all in black and white, but if you have a look at his color works, those are really cool too. But for him, his manga, no plots or anything, no significant plots, but it's just an amalgamation of random stuff happening, all these wacky character designs. Astronaut is a really good one too, where everyone's just floating around in space, flying around. But Plaza, I think Plaza, out of everything, which has been Plaza has been released in English, by the way. A lot of his stuff has, but Plaza is probably the most chaotic out of everything, because every single set of 2 pages is just a sequence of like 5 seconds in like this parade, essentially. So every time you flip the page, you'll see the scene change a little bit. New contraptions pop up, new characters pop in, objects flying everywhere. Absolutely insane. But Yuichi Yokoyama, highly recommend. Stuff has been put out, quite a number of things have been put out in English, but I guess they're a bit harder to come across. But yeah, quite a unique feel when it comes to chaos, because sometimes it can be quiet, like travel, sometimes it can be comedic, like new engineering, and sometimes it could be kind of a mix of both, or just like a more world building exploration thing like Garden. So yeah, another big recommendation from me. And then let's move on to Sakabashira Imiri. So I've got 3 books here by him, which I only have 3 books anyways, by Sakabashira. So I have shown all of these off before, but let's go through them again. So this is a book called The Throat Maze. This is called Working Kappa, and this is a reprint called The New Keykar Company History. So I have read these 2, and I have shown off these 2 before, but Sakabashira Imiri was a very obvious choice for me for this, because he is the embodiment of chaos. You instantly go to any page in his manga and it is filled, similarly like Yokoyama, a bunch of wacky character designs, monsters specifically. I think Sakabashira's main appeal would be all the kaiju and the weird backgrounds, buildings that he has as well. So Throat Maze is essentially about a guy and his friend. His friend gets infected and he becomes like this monster, and they go underground to try and find a cure for that. And yeah, I mean, that's all I can say for the plot, because there's so much that happens every 2 pages. But it's quite a unique feel to his manga, where I'll describe it as, it feels like he is establishing a really detailed landscape in his world building, but at the same time it feels like he's not world building as well. The reason why I say that is because there's just so much that happens, and there's like no rules at all, where traditionally if you think about world building, you think about rules, you think about all these different parts of the world being shown to you. But for Sakabashira Imiri, he just dives in. There are no rules at all, and who cares about rules anyways? And so Working Kappa is about from my memory, what was it about? I think it was about a girl who goes to work to either get some money for her dad or something because her dad's sick. And again, you encounter all this crazy stuff. I remember this scene was like all these buildings coming to life and they're like fighting and everything like that. A lot of 2-page spreads in this. And of course the wacky characters like normal. But Sakabashira Imiri is a mangaka that I recommend if you want to feel overwhelmed. I think that's a really good way to describe the appeal of his manga. So if you like that sort of chaos where it is overwhelming to the point where you don't even care about the plot anymore, Sakabashira is for you. And this one I still have not read. Slowly getting through it, but this was published Seirin Kogeisha in, I don't know, 2023? Looks like it, yeah. Wow, 2023, end of 2023. So it's already been 2 years since I've had this book. That's crazy. But it's a reprint of one of his older works that was quite hard to come by, with some extra pages to it. I'm not entirely sure what this story is about yet, but just flicking through it, you can get the idea, and you can see the characteristics of Sakabashira's stories and art in play. And so I don't think we've had any other releases in terms of manga from Sakabashira since then. Probably some like small art book releases on the side, but no big release like this. So yeah, if you are a fan of kaiju, yokai, wild landscapes, monster designs and all of that, then Sakabashira Imiri is for you. Because going back to what I was to the other books at least, in terms of Yokoyama, it's a very, very unique sense of chaos where everything is dominated by his very poignant art style. You can tell it's Yokoyama straight away, but also by the sound effects and the interesting temporal aspect he has to his manga. And then for En-chan, you have more of that like magical, supernatural type of chaos to it that is also very unique. So yeah, and now we'll move to our last mangaka, which is nerunodaisuki. So nerunodaisuki is another mangaka that I have featured on the channel before, and I've read 2 out of 3 of these books. So I've read these 2. This is Ie Meguri, which means moving houses, and this is Hyou Hyou. And this one I have not read yet. This I feel like came at a pretty similar time to Keykar, probably in 2023, but this is Hyon na Koto. I know it means something, but I don't remember what it actually means. But this was not put out by Seirin Kogeisha, although you would expect something like nerunodaisuki to be put out by them. But yeah, nerunodaisuki is another interesting one. So the first book that I read from him was this one, Hyou Hyou. And this one is actually signed. So I got this from Japan Book Hunter. Shout out to him. So this came out in 2019, and it's a collection of short stories. And the artwork is such a fun thing to just consume with your eyes, because you have a big contrast between these very simply drawn characters with the insanely detailed environment and things happening around. So for example, this story was about this car that's alive, going to be serviced, and it gets some modifications into this little thing. Then we have a story about checking a Shiba Inu's ass for something. And then we have another one about like this genie type creature where it grants wishes, and just some more wacky stuff. So in terms of the chaos, this feels more like the everyday and the chaos that slowly invades that. The reason why I describe it like that is because I'll say the other manga that I've shown us, so Sakabashira, there is no ordinary, Sakabashira is just full-on chaos. En-chan definitely has the mix between the ordinary and the magical, and then Yokoyama is kind of his own thing. But nerunodaisuki has that good mix between ordinary daily life, slice of life, and insane stuff like this happening, like these monsters coming to life and whatnot. So Hyou Hyou was a really fun read, and then Ie Meguri is it's not short stories, it's actually its own full story. So the entire book here is its own sustained story, and it's essentially just about this white cat over here meeting with this black cat who's like a real estate agent, going around and finding potential homes to rent out or buy. And this was based off of the mangaka's personal experiences, and every single house is just insanity. Like, I'm trying to remember and see what types of houses there were. Like, one of the houses was just inside a submarine, and like the rent was free, but you had to fight off and kill all these like sea creatures. And then you have other houses where there's just like a full-on insect invasion happening inside, wild artifacts everywhere. And so we have that juxtaposition of like a normal event, which is a normal activity that is like finding a home to rent, mixed in with the chaos that Nerunodaisuki Daisuki adds. And then this last section, which is really good, all in color, very, very psychedelic. That's also what I would describe En-chan as well, very psychedelic. But yeah, insane stuff. But this one is a really, really fun read because there's this like ongoing gag in it where after every house that they see, their car changes a little bit as well. Let me see if I can find the car changing over time. It's got to be somewhere here. Oh. Where is it? Okay, yeah. Eventually it turns into just a straight up log. But really fun read as well, Ie Meguri. And then last one we have is Hyon na Koto, a big, pretty big book. So this one I haven't read yet either, but another short story collection. Huge book, so tons to dive into. Looks like the usual fun stuff that you'd expect from nerunodaisuki. And just a fun fact, this specific story here actually features in the Japan Kush issue, and that was I actually do have that in my collection as well. But yeah, a lot of stuff, a lot of content to get through for this one here. And when was this published? 2023 as well. Okay, I was right. So only 1 month after the Sakabashira Keykar issue, tankobon, this got put out. So yeah, that's going to be the end of today's video. So a good mix of chaos all around from all of these different manga, all from the alt manga world as well, which is always cool to see. So hope you guys have enjoyed this one. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.